Most guys shopping for a PCP air rifle think more bar equals more power, and that belief has been costing them accuracy for years. Here's the thing, nobody at the gun counter wants to tell you. The British don't chase pressure, they chase control. While half the market is out there bolting on bigger tanks and calling it innovation, the engineers in Birmingham and Staffordshire have been quietly perfecting something else entirely. Single-digit extreme spread, regulators that don't creep, barrels that don't lie. Today we're breaking down 7 rifles that prove it, from a monoblock BSA built to survive 160 years of legacy, to a bullpup from Daystate that's basically running a ballistic computer in a carbon fiber shell. Some of these will hunt pests in your backyard shed. One of them will put a slug through a lozenge at 100 yards and make you question everything you thought you knew about what a spring and lead sport is capable of. Let's get into it. Moving on to rank 7, this next one is the smallest rifle on the whole list. But do not let the size fool you. The BSA Ultra CLX SL is built for guys working in tight spaces. Barns, sheds, truck cabs, anywhere a full-length sporter becomes a liability instead of a tool. At just about 820 millimeters overall and 2.6 kilograms bare, this thing swings onto target faster than anything else in this lineup. It borrows its core from the bigger R12 platform, just shrunk down and tightened up for guys who value speed over raw air capacity. Under the hood, the real story here is the monoblock chassis. Instead of stacking a bunch of separate metal components together with a pile of O-rings between them, BSA machines the valve, air transfer, and trigger housing out of one solid chunk of metal. That matters because every seam is a potential leak point, and this rifle has almost none of them. Pair that with the new side lever action, which BSA fitted with an anti-double load safeguard, so you cannot accidentally jam a second pellet into the breech behind the first one. Smooth, positive, one stroke, done. Now here is the deal breaker. That compact 200cc cylinder is efficient, sure, but it is still small. You are looking at somewhere around 60 shots in 177, maybe 72 in 22. Before you are reaching for the pump again, compared to some of the 400-shot monsters further up this list. That is a hard limit you need to plan around if you are running an all-day pest control session. Snaps off with a crisp little bark, tight and controlled. Nothing like the hollow twang you get out of cheaper compacts. The cold hammer-forged barrel keeps it punching hole in hole even at this size. And the Beach, or synthetic tactical stock options from Manelli, give you a grip that just disappears in your hands. Stepping into the middle of the pack now, this is where the serious hunting rigs start showing their teeth. Rank 6 is the Firearms S510 Ultimate Sporter R. That letter R at the end is not decoration. It stands for regulated, and it is the single biggest difference between this rifle and the standard S510 that came before it. Here is how a regulator actually works, because most guys just nod along without understanding it. Your air cylinder starts off packed at high pressure, but as you fire shot after shot, that pressure drops, and drops, and drops. Without a regulator, your velocity drops right along with it, shot to shot, in what techs call the power curve. Firearms solved that by fitting a balanced valve regulator that clamps down and delivers the exact same charge of air to the firing valve every single time, whether your bottle just got filled or it is down to its last quarter. The result is a flat velocity curve from your first pellet to your last. Under that shroud sits a Lothar Walther match-grade barrel, pulled straight out of Germany, cut with 12 rifling grooves for a spin so consistent it throws 177 pellets into groups that look impossible past 50 yards, even when the wind is working against you. Paired with the Q-Tech shroud, this rifle goes from a crack to something closer to a padded thump, quiet enough to work rats out of a barn without spooking the whole yard. Now here is the deal breaker, and this one is financial. That regulator, that Q-Tech can, The laminate furniture with the ball joint cheek piece, none of it is cheap to service. If that regulator ever needs a rebuild down the line, you are not doing it on your kitchen table with a hex key. That is a specialist job, and specialist work drains your wallet fast. Highly refined and built for the podium, this rifle trades raw shot count for surgical precision. You are only getting somewhere around 60 to 90 shots per fill in 177, a number some casual shooters will find restrictive next to the shot counts we have already covered. Now we are stepping up the power, entering serious hunting rig territory. Rank 5, BSA R12 CLX Pro. BSA built this rifle to carry 160 years of Birmingham engineering on its back, and honestly, it earns that weight. The R12 CLX Pro takes the monoblock philosophy we saw on the smaller Ultra and scales it up into a full-sized hunting platform, machining the valve, air transfer, and trigger housing from a single solid block instead of bolting together a dozen separate parts. Here is the mechanic's insight that actually matters on this one. BSA paired that monoblock core with a completely redesigned regulator and squeezed every last drop out of a 480cc carbon bottle. What that combination buys you is up to 400 shots per fill in 177 at 12 foot-pounds, without the velocity sagging near the end of the string. That is a shot count that makes some of the smaller rifles on this list look like they are running on empty. Under the shroud, the cold hammer forged barrel is doing the heavy lifting for accuracy. Cold hammer forging squeezes the rifling into the steel under extreme pressure instead of cutting it out, which leaves a glass smooth bore with almost zero tool marks for the pellet to catch on as it spins down the barrel. Break sounds like a tight, controlled cough. Not sharp, not hollow, just efficient. Here is the deal breaker, and it is not the mechanics this time, it is the wood. That Manelli thumbhole stock in walnut or black pepper laminate looks like a piece of furniture, and it is gorgeous. But gorgeous wood swells and shifts with humidity if you are not careful storing it. Leave it in a damp truck bed overnight, and you will feel the difference in your cheek weld. This is a phenomenal all-around hunting rifle. But wait until you see what is waiting at number 1. It makes this 400-shot monster look almost restrained. Now I know some of the traditional firearm guys watching this are rolling their eyes at a 400-shot air rifle claim. Sound off in the comments if you have run a CLX Pro through a full string and actually clocked the number yourself. Closer to the crown now, Rank 4 is where Air Arms decided to rewrite the rulebook entirely. This is the X200 Vanguard. Look, every other rifle on this list is chasing performance ceilings. This one is chasing something different. Maximum time in the field for minimum hassle. And it pulls that off better than anything else here. The biggest engineering decision on the X200 Vanguard is the switch to a buddy bottle setup. A 350cc detachable cylinder that fills at just 160 bar. Here is why that pressure number actually matters, and is not just a spec sheet footnote. Lower fill pressure means less stress on every O-ring and seal in the system. Shot after shot, fill after fill. It also means this rifle plays nice, with a hand pump, in a way that some of the 250-bar carbon bottle rifles on this list simply do not. You are not fighting the pump on the last 100 strokes, trying to hit a punishing top pressure. Under the polymer stock, the side lever action swaps sides in minutes, and the whole package ships genuinely ready to hunt. 2 12-round magazines, a single shot tray, a moderator, and a full toolkit, all included instead of sold off piecemeal like BSA and Daystate tend to do. Sounds like a soft double tap, tight and mechanical, nothing flashy, just business. Here is the deal breaker, and it is an ergonomics one. That polymer stock is bomb-proof against mud and moisture, sure, but it does not have the natural point of a shaped walnut sporter. Guys coming from a wood-stocked rifle are going to feel that difference the first time they mount it. Sets you back somewhere under 700 British pounds, which is an absurd number once you add up everything already sitting in the box. Entering the elite tier now, rank 3 is Daystate Huntsman Revere, and this is where the artistry gets serious. Everything on this list up to now has been chasing either raw shot count or dollar value. The Huntsman Revere is chasing something different entirely. It is chasing perfection in a package that looks like it belongs on a country estate instead of a tactical range bag. Under that Manelli walnut, the mechanic's insight worth understanding is the slingshot hammer system. On a standard PCP, the hammer strikes the valve and can bounce back, catching it again and dumping extra air you never intended to release, which is exactly what kills your shot count and your consistency. Daystate's slingshot design uses inertia to snap the hammer forward, strike once, and immediately pull itself clear before any bounce happens. One strike, one measured burst of air, every single time. That single mechanical trick is why this rifle sips air instead of gulping it, squeezing 140 shots out of a modest 132cc cylinder. Under the shroud, the same regulator technology from Huma Air that shows up across this list keeps that string dead flat from first shot to last. Break sounds almost dainty compared to the others. A light, refined snap, like a fine trigger on a bespoke shotgun. Here is the deal breaker, and it is financial again. That Manelli walnut stock, the slingshot hammer engineering, the imported regulator, none of that comes cheap, and you are paying a real premium over a synthetic stocked rifle with similar internals. This is a rifle for guys who want the wood, not just the numbers. The damage to your wallet buys you a rifle that handles like a classic sporter, but shoots like it was built in this decade, not the last one. Deeper into the elite tier now, rank 2 belongs to Daystate Alpha Wolf, and this is where mechanical air rifles start looking almost old-fashioned. Here is the truth about this rifle. It is not really an air gun in the traditional sense. It is a computer that happens to fire pellets. Instead of a spring and a hammer doing the work, Alpha Wolf fires a solenoid, an electromagnetic valve to release air on command. Now let's get into how it actually earns that 10 out of 10 accuracy score, because the mechanic's insight here is genuinely wild. Built into the shroud is a tiny onboard chronograph. Every single shot gets clocked the instant it leaves the barrel, and that velocity reading gets fed straight back into the onboard processor in real time. If that shot came out a hair slower than your target velocity, the rifle automatically lengthens the solenoid's open time on the next shot by fractions of a millisecond. Too fast, it shortens it. That feedback loop is what produces an almost perfectly flat velocity curve across hundreds of shots, even as the temperature outside shifts. Paired with that is the tensioned barrel system, where a thin steel liner gets wrapped in a carbon sleeve and cinched tight from both ends, canceling out the harmonic vibration that normally runs down a barrel every time it fires. Sounds almost surgical, a crisp electronic click followed by a controlled hiss, nothing like the mechanical thump of a spring-driven hammer. Here is the deal breaker, and honestly, it is the big one. This rifle blows past 2,000 British pounds at retail. That electronic touchscreen, the onboard chronograph, the data drive for downloading ballistic profiles, you are paying serious money for all of it. This is a phenomenal rifle sitting at number 2, but wait until you see what just edged it out for the crown. This is it, the throne. Rank 1, and it is not even close. BRK Ghost, and its newer sibling, Ghost Zero. Here is why this rifle sits above everything we have covered today, and I want to be specific about it, instead of just throwing praise at it. The Alpha Wolf you just watched take number 2 gives you an unbelievable electronic feedback loop for consistency. But that technology comes locked inside one fixed platform. No barrel swapping, no caliber changing on a whim. Ghost gives you a huge chunk of that same shot-to-shot consistency through its Huma Air regulator, but wraps it inside a modular chassis where you can swap barrel length and caliber by loosening a single screw. And where the BSA R12 CLX Pro, back at number 5, earns its reputation on raw shot count from that monoblock platform, Ghost shares that exact same aluminum monocoque engineering with its big brother Daystate, giving it comparable rigidity and zero flex under recoil, while still keeping the whole package light enough to carry all day. Now for the mechanic's insight that seals this rifle's place at the top. That power wheel behind the grip is not just a gimmick dial. It physically adjusts hammer spring tension across 20 distinct settings, letting you dial the balance between hammer force and regulator pressure to match anything from a feather-light .177 pellet to a heavy .30 caliber slug, without ever cracking the action open. Push that dial to the top end on the 711mm .30 caliber barrel, and this platform is clearing 100 foot-pounds, a number that puts it in firearm-adjacent territory for a rifle running purely on mechanical air. Here is the deal breaker, because even the king has a flaw. That Picatinny rail slides the full length of the receiver for eye relief adjustment, which is fantastic for optics flexibility. But it also means the rail itself has more moving contact points than a fixed rail, and guys running heavy magnified scopes have reported it needing a retorque after extended hard use in the field. Under the hood, over the top, around every angle you look at it, Ghost Zero gives you the shot count ambition of the CLX Pro, the tunability that rivals the Alpha Wolf's electronic precision, wrapped into a chassis you can rebuild in your own garage. That is why it wears the crown. That is the list. 7 of the finest air rifles Britain has put out this year, from a pocket-sized monoblock barn gun all the way up to a modular monster, pushing past 100 foot-pounds on carbon and steel. Whichever one of these ends up in your rack, remember the sub-12 limit did not hold this country back. It built the sharpest engineers in the business. Keep your air tanks full, and I will see you downrange.